jump into that, let me tell them I partner, with engineer and genius Richard Patterson to truly, like I told you, it's not too many successful and powerful people out there who really want a greener future, who really want to make the world a better place, and who cares less about how much money they make. One thing I know in life is that the money follows when you're chasing your purpose, when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And, we're talking tech and automotive working hand in hand to truly be green. It's like, why hasn't that happened already? But we know why that haven't happened, because it's a lot of greed out there. And that was why it was so critical for me to partner with Richard, because the man is a genius. Like, y'all go Google this man. Y'all don't even know who's on the camera right now, because he hate being in front of the camera.
No.
That's why I kind of took advantage of what he created, because he don't care for the credit. But this man, I just think he's a genius. I think he's the future, and it's time for the world to put a face to it.
Okay. Hey, but to answer the question, I saw me in Romeo. I saw me in you, as a young black man, coming up, really inquisitive, tinkering with things, taking things apart, really wanting to know how things work. And when you get down to the brass tacks, once you start peeling things apart, you start to understand and learn the business, and also learn the whys. Why does this wire go here? Why is this transistor here? Why is this circuit even looking the way that it looks? Without getting into too much, that started early for me when, I was down in my basement, taking apart and fixing things in the house. And then on my paper route, on trash day, when I see that speaker or stereo sitting there, I'm like, hey, I can use that. And I'll deliver my papers, and I'll bring my wagon back around and pick that stuff up and sneak it into the house, because my dad didn't like me bringing, as he said, trash into the house. But, and I'm down there working. I'm taking things apart. I'm blowing out all the fuses in the house, electrocuting myself, and building all kind of bastardized robots and equipment that I thought was, something nice, but it may look like junk to the other person. But again, this is why I'm doing this. I've done many, let's just say, talks with young people about why aren't we on the forefront of technology? When you see technology, you don't see us. But we're always in the background doing something. Look at Roy L. Clay, the gentleman over at Hewlett Packard. This guy made Hewlett Packard. You probably don't even know about him. Look him up. He's one of the great inventors and technicians behind the scenes that made that company what it was. And again, you don't see people like me when you talk about a new car release, whether it's Model S, the Corvette, the Cadillac. You don't see me. You see something in someone else. And it's just time for that to change, that narrative to change. Our people need us. And, I'm the guy spending, 14 hours in the building while everybody else is gone or whatever, trying to make things go. And I'm just happy to see them go. I'm happy to see it work. I'm happy to see the product succeed. But I have to take another viewpoint on it right now, because we need to see us.
Yeah, I mean, Rich and Ron, we was talking about this the other day. We have to make it cool to be smart again.
Yes.
And everything I'm saying, I've said it to myself plenty of times. When I was in school and stuff like that, I would look at the people that was doing tech and building stuff, and I was like, that's not cool. But now we participate in technology every day. The minute we open up our eyes and we use this phone, so we're on the other side of it, and now we have to understand, like, it's right there, right? We just have to stop thinking that the only way to make money is what they paint the picture of. we got to paint our own narrative.
You
So, you know, we just got to
know,
make it
hit a
cool.
point right there, and I just felt this on my spirit because I remember doing an interview a few years ago, and the guy was telling me how in our community, especially the Black culture, um, it's a reason we don't have 10 generations, 20 generations, because the guy we were talking, he was like, everybody want to get it out the mud from our culture. We only respect the first generation of our cultures, where you go with these other people and they're 10 and 15 generations down the line, because what you realize when you become successful is true family generation, you have to pass it down. You know, you got to pass that knowledge, because if we're always starting from ground zero, how are we going to have true family generation, generational wealth? And was always, you know, I had the best of both worlds, because my family's from the Calio projects, right? But then I was able to go to the best schools. So I'll be going to the best schools and seeing how these families who's been doing this for hundreds of years, their mindset and how they build their families. And then I'll go back home with my cousins, you know, where we from the Calio and from Mo City, and I see the different in the mindset. And we pick on each other for being great. We pick on each other for being smart. We pick on each other for building robots. You know, I remember there was this experience in school where I was always super athletic as a kid, but I love science and math. Like, I love science and math, and I love my little science project. I wasn't as good as you, Richard, okay, but I got second place in some things. But I remember when I whoop everybody on the basketball court, people would cheer for me. The dudes would be cheering. They'll want to be my friend. When I'll do those science projects, people stayed away from me. But the only people who stayed away from me was my people, our people. And I was just like thinking about that the other day, where we have to change that. We have to put people like Richard Patterson, who don't want to be seen, who don't want care to be known, but the real geniuses who's making differences, so kids could see an example. Kids could see that it's possible, and kids could see that we could build spaceships, we could build cars, we could build new technology that changed the world. We don't just have to be an athlete or an entertainer. You know, we could use that. Even if we're an entertainer like myself, we could use that to graduate and elevate to something bigger.
Right.
And that's why this live is so important, because if we don't leave with anything else from this, I want people to know the name Richard Patterson, because he's coming.